Hi, this is Beverly Cole, and this is Project 1 in my How to Paint with Embossing Powder series. Today we're going to use some digital stamps, and they match up perfectly for this patriotic card. Notice that I made the sentiment from the You're My Hero set larger than the image. It's a fun trick that you can do to stretch your digital stamps. We're going to use the background just the way it is, printed out in color. We'll put that aside, and right now I'm going to add some dimension to the sentiment pieces. I cut America and Proud separate from each other so I could work with each one separately. Another thing you can do with your stamps. Using our jumbo dauber, I'm going to add some water-based ink to my images here by sponging the edges. This is a translucent ink and tapping it all over just a little bit. I still want the background to look kind of white. Then I'll take some blue, same kind of ink, it's kind of translucent and water-based, and I'm going to use it around the edges. And now you'll see that I can slide the ink from the glass mat onto the white cardstock, and it gives me a very smooth transition with no buckling of the ink on the edges, no lagging with the sponge. And I'm also going around the soldier with some ink so we don't see the white cut edges. Please excuse my squeaky chair. Now, the next thing we'll do is we're going to coat these letters with dimensional glue. And there's a little tip I can share with you here. Our dimensional glue has a really fine tip, which is great. But to get it to go into the areas even smaller than the tip, you fill in the large area first on the letter, and then using the tip, you're just going to drag the glue into those fine line areas. Just drag it in. And if you need to squeeze out a little more glue while you're doing it, that's okay. But make sure to start in the larger area and pull it into the smaller area. Now I'm going to do that on every letter in both pieces. You can see America up there already covered in ink. And now I'm doing Proud. Watch, I'll pull the ink. Here's the Gypsy red. Just dump it on. Beautiful. And now the navy blue. Okay, so now we're going to do the actual painting with the embossing powder. The first thing we need to use is a small paintbrush, and we're going to use our static-free bag because we are applying embossing powder, and we don't want it to stick where we don't care to have it. So now I'm going to open up my Stampendous embossing ink, and there's usually a little dauber thing on top, and I pulled that out because I want to use it straight from the cap. I pour a little in the cap, and I'm going to use a fine brush, and I'm going to paint. So now we're going to paint, paint, paint. I'm going to paint with the embossing ink, and you're doing just sketchy marks kind of where the darkest areas are, and then embossing with embossing powder over those areas of ink. Now you have to make sure your ink is wet when you do add the embossing powder, so I'm only going to do half at a time in case it's starting to dry. Dump it on, tap it off. This is Sapphire embossing powder, just perfect for this project. Oh, look how pretty that looks already. Now use a clean brush, a dry brush, to just brush off the extra embossing powder on our white stripes. We don't want blue on our white stripes. This is the American flag. We know where the white goes, and where the blue goes, and where the red goes. Great. Now I heat set it, because if I don't, I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to wipe it off with my hand. I do it all the time, and it's infuriating. So this way, we'll get it all set and move on to some more areas. There, that's done. And now I can't mess it up. So we move on to do this again with the rest of the blue. And notice how I just use a sketchy movement. You can always add more, but you can't take it away after you apply it. So, you know, if you want to go a little at a time, if you're not sure how much to add, do a little at a time, put some embossing powder on, and, you know, then you'll be able to see, oh, that's not enough, I need more. Well, this looks fine to me, so it doesn't even look like I need to wipe any extra off. So I'm going to heat set that. And now the blue is done, and we can move on to the red. You really painted with embossing powder. And now I'm going to take those same inks that I used before just to give the edges of the flag a little dimension. Here's the red. And I have a jumbo dauber for each color. And these wash out really great. They're spongy, so they wash out. They're not felt. So here's our background, and I've matted it on some red and blue cardstock. And our words are dry and beautiful. Perfect. Look at that soldier image. I just made him like an accent piece. And we'll use some 1/4-inch Tear-ific tape, and you truly can tear it and put it where you need it, no matter how small of an area. Just press it down with my finger, and I can easily trim it still, and then tear off the back end. Works great. No problem at all. So these will just press onto the card. And now you see why I did America in blue, because it's going to go over the blue part, and red for proud, because it's going over the red. I love this card, but it needs something. It needs something to balance the soldier a little. Although I really like it the way it is, but I just can't stop. So here's a little ribbon trick. Tie a one-time knot and manipulate it until you make a square knot with a corner ribbon and trim it, and you've got something you can put right up in the corner. Now I'm going to make my own glue dots here using some Tear-ific tape. You can use any size. And I'm just going to make a glue dot with it. You can also heat it a little bit if you want to make it super sticky, and then press the ribbon right in place. I use 2 more pieces on the end of each of the ribbon. And now I'm giving a final brush with my glitter brush, and the card is finished. Be sure to hit the bell so you don't miss a video. Have fun!